Hello and welcome to Inner Balance TV. I'm your host, Dwaine Hartman. Tonight, I'm interviewing Anrita Melchizedek. Now, for those of you that haven't heard of her, she is a channeler of the higher beings, higher energies. When you get a chance to hear her, she's all over the internet as far as YouTube. And she has her own website, which is palladianlight.net. And you can go there and have a listen to her. The thing that is with Anrita is that she has been dedicated to her work for quite a while, as long as I've been on the net. And she has been bringing through transmissions for us to listen to, which adjusts our light bodies, adjusts us in ways where we come into frequency. She is amazing, and I want you to go check out her website. I want you to check her out. And she's going to be in India, and we'll talk about that, doing a seminar, and we'll be talking about that during the show. So without any further hesitation here, let's get on with the show. Well, hello, Anrita. Nice to see you, and welcome to Inner Balance TV.
Thank you. Thank you, Dwaine. It's wonderful to connect with you, and thank you for this opportunity to do this interview with you.
I have listened and been aware of you for years, I think, on the web, watched your videos, partaked in the downloads that you offer on your site, and I find that out of, you're very connected. I don't want to do comparisons, but I'm just saying that, oh my God, as far as connected, you really bring through a lot of information about the higher realms for all of us to understand and to hear. And I just want to, take the opportunity at this moment to thank you for your contributions.
Thank you. Oh, well, I'm smiling because I think you're giving away our ages.
Oh.
We've definitely both been around for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
In this lifetime anyway, too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But, I had my awakening, it was in my mid-20s. Uh-huh. And I think the family that I chose to incarnate into was definitely instrumental, too, in a part of my awakening. I grew up in a school of economic science. I grew up chanting Sanskrit and meditating, having angel friends. And of course, I really, really didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
I think at that age, I wanted to just play with my friends and kind of be normal and, just have fun in life. But that was a large part of my journey. And then in my late teens and early 20s, it was really just a time of, in a way, turning my back on all of that to try and find myself and going through my own rainbow creations and coming back into a spiritual focus from my mid-20s. And that's when I started working very much with Archangel Michael and the legions, the angelic legions of light to start with. Mm-hmm, and from there, I connected to the Pleiadian emissaries of the light. Mm-hmm. And I actually didn't even know at that stage there was a constellation called the Pleiades, or in fact a whole New Age movement.
Is that right?
It was,
yeah.
It just was, kind of one of those things. One day I was just starting to speak to this incredible being of light called Ra, who appeared to me as a golden sun. Mm-hmm. And he was saying, come back to us, to this incredible, beautiful master being and star child. And it was really just the start of my journey then. And through those transmissions, I put together the first workbook called the Pleiadian Light Body DNA Activation Program. And it was a very important journey for me because it went on. I thought it was going to be, kind of a personal journey, going into inner child work and subpersonality work, past life regression, moving through the chakras, moving through timelines, moving into the light body activation. It was all just a natural progression of understanding that was coming through.
Yes.
And I worked with it for myself for about a year. Mm-hmm. And then they said, now I must start to record it and, start to share that information with others.
So I'm glad you did.
Thank you. Thank you. And so it was a sort of an incredible journey for me, because it really took me into a lot of that process work, which I think is a very important part of our work in, once we start to awaken and understand that we're these incredible beings of light. It's so much also about that cellular clearing and that imprinting, and looking at the false beliefs and judgments and, kind of all the many issues and actions and reactions that we've played out and carried through, and our pre-birth agreements and karmic contracts. Yeah. So that's played, I think, a part of, quite a major part in a lot of the personal work that I do with clients, in my ability to read their energy and to move them from one place to another, to have a look at what their issues are, to have a look at what they're working with, and to create that pathway for them to move into a deeper level of understanding of what those issues are.
So you work personal sessions as well. You have your recordings as well that you've done.
Well, I work with a core group of light beings called the Elders. I started with the Pleiadians, and then I connected to the Syrians. From there, I connected to the Andromedans and the Arcturians, and I channeled all those light beings for quite a while, and that was great fun. And then I started working very much with the Order of Melchizedek, coming into a deeper level of remembrance of working with the Alpha and Omega Order of Melchizedek for many lifetimes. And that's a lot of the ancient Egyptian and Atlantean mystery school teachings. Yeah. So it's kind of quite an eclectic mix. But when I do personal readings, and in fact when I do channelings, I work with a core group called the Elders, who are, I understand them as ancient celestial beings and high council members to the Order of Melchizedek. And it's also merging with my I am presence. So you can say at that level, at that core group, my I am presence is part of that committee of light, or that council of light.
So this is moving you as well. So as well as helping other people, you're really just in a sense allowing people to join you on your journey. In a sense, eh? No?
Absolutely. It's so interesting because the work is focused on two levels. One is the planetary focus, and one is the personal focus. And that ability to connect on both those levels of what's going on is actually just quite incredible. In what I'm going through is reflected on a planetary level, and it's reflected on a personal level. And so many people are experiencing that at the same moment in time. It's not an individual journey; it's a collective journey.
I so agree with you, because whatever I do or whatever I put out, it's something that I'm going through at the time and work through, or I'm not quite there yet, or it's the same. It's kind of the same thing, and which is kind of interesting. You were mentioning that this came to you in your 20s, and that was the same scenario with myself. It was about my mid-20s, and all of a sudden the shift happened for me, right? And this great remember happened, where, I was driving down the road and I got plucked off the road like a strawberry, by some Arcturians. Yeah, so it was like, remember what you're supposed to do here. And that changed everything. All of a sudden, I didn't do the same things that everybody else was doing anymore. It was very, very focused, and we had to get some work done.
Yeah, and I think for many people it's also quite a confusing time, that initial awakening. Yeah. What I found was, it was like you're going through lifetimes and lifetimes of memories. Yeah. And it can be quite confusing, because a large part of your identity can be related to, for example, what you do rather than who you are. So you're a lawyer, or you're an accountant, or you're a business person, or you're a housekeeper. It doesn't really matter. But when that identification of association of who you are becomes less important to recognizing that you are already just simply light, and how to take yourself into that frequency, or that frequency remodulation, and present yourself from your authentic self, it can be quite difficult. And I found initially also for me, I slept a lot. I kind of slept for about 16 hours a day. That was probably for a period of a year. And it was just very fortunate that I was in a place that I could do that. I was living on a stud farm, and I was working with racehorses. So, that was kind of the main focus of my work at that stage. And there was so much joy. I think there's also that innocence that comes, and that joy, and, kind of that magic of life. And I don't say we lose it, but we, it's part of that initial awakening. And then we need to, kind of move deeper into some of those core issues and be able then to ground ourselves more. And for me, I found I was, still quite ungrounded and still coming into a lot of those power issues or issues of empowerment, finding my voice, finding the true expression of myself, and letting go of a lot of people, kind of around me that didn't reflect my reality. And I think that's where, a lot of people get stuck. They have like one foot here and one foot there, or they still, kind of working in a particular environment that doesn't support them or sustain them with their understandings, their beliefs. And a lot of people then move into feeling isolated or separated, alienated. That's a little bit of cosmic humor in that one. Most of us are aliens.
That's right, yes.
But it's what I'm seeing and sensing, and I think you could probably agree with me, Dwaine, is that so many are awakening now, that we're actually coming together and we're experiencing ourselves in this collective force field of light. And I experience that very much through the unity grid of divine love. And that field of light, that matrix of light extends within us, it extends around us, and it connects us to the light workers and to the star-seeded ones and all the beings of light from on high. And then, of course, there's all these incredible planetary activities of light that are occurring all the time that affect us. As changes occur on the earth, so they occur within our energy bodies as well. And
so, again, so above, so below. And we're in this band of energy that's in the middle of it. Like a show that I had just got done doing, we were talking about how you take a look at the atomic level, and that's just another universe. It's just a different universe, smaller universe. But we look out this way and we see universes. And so we're in this band of energy in the center, having these experiences, and yet there's so many light beings, there's so many ascended masters that are here to assist us in raising vibration at this point in time too. Do you agree?
And in coming into our own power, coming into a deep level of our own power. I know there's some people that, kind of say, well, why are you giving your power to channels, or why are you giving your power to the ascended masters or to the beings of light? Those beings of light are walking with us. They're kind of not telling us what to do. They're giving us the skills, the tools, and the understandings that we ourselves are starting to experience in frequency within the DNA, within our energy bodies, through the planetary events that are occurring. We're having in this month particularly, it's a huge month for peace activations and peace portals, and we've just moved through the Star of David, or that was the grand sextile on July the 29th, and that Stargate activation created the energetic matrix of the star tetrahedron around the light body of Mother Earth, and it also connected into our original divine A-cell blueprint, which forms this, which connects to the sacred geometry of the star tetrahedron. So it created for us a deeper alignment into our not only original divine blueprint and the understanding of our purpose and life task, but also in our ability to align our will at a deeper level with the divine will of Mother, Father, God. And it brought through too a lot of the divine feminine energy. And this next Stargate that we're going to be experiencing now, the second grand sextile, which is on August the 25th, is bringing through the divine masculine. So we're having then a deeper sense of the divine feminine, of letting go of the suppression of the divine feminine and experiencing that within ourselves and merging that with the divine masculine. So if we understand some of these planetary events, then we can see how they're reflected within our own lives, how we all working to some degree with, the integration of our divine masculine and divine feminine spirits, how that deeper merge of coming into, unconditional love within ourselves, of letting go of blame, and also I think it's important, to understand that the timelines are merging. We've got the karmic timelines and what I call the Christ timelines. The timelines of the golden age of light, which extend also through parallel realities to the lifetimes in which we've achieved our highest potential. So we're talking there about the merging with our multidimensional selves. And so we're in these pockets of fifth dimensional frequency energy. And at the same time, we're still experiencing like third dimensional bodies, third dimensional realities. If we look around us at the world, to many of the human miscreations that are still being perpetuated.
Yeah.
So we're bringing a focus then through planetary light works such as peace portal activations. Quite a lot has gone on this month. I know the Children of the Sun, for example, have been traveling with James Twyman to Syria and to Egypt. A lot of core groups are connecting into, bringing a focus with their own groups into light grid anchorings and activations, a deeper level of the divine love, holding the light grid for peace, expanding the unity grid through the new geometries, fractal geometries, numerologies that are coming through at this time. And all of it is just simply activating the DNA.
That's already within you.
More. Yes, exactly. It's already within us. And we're experiencing then a greater level of alignment. So it's either in alignment or we're in misalignment.
Exactly. We're either in source or we're out of it.
Well, yes and no, because I think we all are source. But it's really then,
yeah, but the thing is that psychologically you're either in source or you're out of it. So you're either in source and you're flowing with source, or you're outside of it experiencing dis-ease, disharmony, whatever. And as you move into that place, breathe in.
Yeah, well, we're either in flow or we're not. Yeah. And I think, what's been presented through many of these activities of light is also the movement of deeper levels of light into our own shadows. So that's why then we see on a planetary level and within our own lives, kind of a lot of the shadow aspects coming up. So, that's just part of this huge clearing that's been going on for, I think amplified definitely since the 70s. We've had a lot of the ray frequencies. We've had the higher rays, the 5 higher earthly rays that have been were activated and anchored in the early 70s here, and cosmic rays from the mid-90s too.
Not that we remember the 70s though.
Yeah, let's not share. Yeah. Well, what's nice, I think, too, is that, kind of we move through these decades and we move through these cycles. And, what we're coming back to, I see a lot more, is that sense of freedom. That freedom, that creative expression. And it's such an incredible gift because, if we look at from a era perspective, you're talking about the late 60s, which was really just that whole energy of moving into deeper levels of creativity and freedom and experiencing, kind of different ways to get there.
Yeah.
But, and now what we're doing is we're experiencing that a lot more, I think, through source light. And that energy of creativity and freedom, and it's just expanding and it's just quite incredible.
Anyone can connect. Anyone can start to develop a relationship with beings of light and start working that way, correct?
We all channels. I think what it is, it's false beliefs. If I look at false beliefs, one of those false beliefs is I don't have these gifts. I'm not clairsentient, or I'm not clairaudient, or I'm not, whatever it is. I'm not telepathic, or, those are gifts belonging to other people. But we all are channels of source because that source light is within us and around us. And we have that connection coming through from our beloved I Am Presence and our higher self of the light.
Yes.
So it's how we channel it. And we can't compare our gifts to others because we're all completely unique.
Yeah.
We're these unique incredible, precious beings of light. And we can't compare our energy signature to that of any other being. And, the beings of light chuckle, when they see us moving into comparison with another, because there's always going to be those that are more gifted or more talented or wealthier, wiser, healthier, pretty. It doesn't really matter. It's like recognizing the uniqueness and preciousness of ourselves and our unique puzzle piece and what we bring to the collective. Because that's what we do. We bring our unique signatures.
Yes.
And that's what makes this collective force field of divine love. So it's to know that we all are channels, and it is just expressed in different ways. Right. And that's whether it's through music or through art or through poetry or through song or through receiving light transmissions and sharing that with others. It's just this incredible symphony of electric blend of gifts that we're bringing together.
That's right. And as we talk, discuss, and feel the freedom to come out of the closet, really, about this, we're talking to people who maybe are right on the edge of saying, I do have a gift. I've always felt I wanted to do this. I always had this passion to do this. And these are what these shows are about, is to encourage people to step out and experience, to come and do some activations with you and get into it. Right.
Well, there's different levels to that. The one is firstly, as the DNA is activating, it starts to bring through the multidimensional memories of, kind of timelines of our highest potential. And you can be very sure that you have already been a poet, a writer, an author, a healer, a teacher, an artist.
Yes.
There's probably nothing that you haven't been. It's like the Matrix being downloaded. So you're just being downloaded now with what is the most appropriate gifts, either to your service work or to your heart's dreaming.
Yep.
And usually it's a bit of an eclectic blend. It's a combination of both. Kind of following your heart's dreaming, following your passion. And a lot of people seem to think that's something outside of themselves, when it's actually really, kind of it's within you. No one can say to you, what is your heart's dreaming or what is your passion? It's not something that you pursue externally. It's something that you feel inside of yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Then it comes out. You were talking about going, through, all of a sudden this memory happens to you. When it happened to me, I was just sitting there in a chair. I had been doing some meditating, but I was sitting in this chair, and all of a sudden, poof, I just start going back through time. Just sitting there. It was time. And it was just like lifetimes were going past me like you wouldn't believe. It was just...
Yeah.
And all the way back to the beginning, where I seen myself holding these two orbs. I was standing there holding these two orbs, and I put them to my heart, and I loved myself into being here. And it was like I held them to my heart, and then I just enveloped and came here. It was
wonderful.
Interesting. Yeah. And then I went up through my timelines and seen where I was this, and I was that, and I was this, and I realized that's all in emotional states within me, and I can just call up those emotions and be whatever the essence of that was, right?
Well, it's really just moving, frequency and dimension. That's really what you're talking about. Again, then it's talking about, I think, frequency remodulation, where you can choose which dimension that you want to be in. So we're in the third dimension, we're experiencing that as part of our reality. We're experiencing the fourth dimension as part of our reality. We're experiencing the fifth, we're experiencing the sixth on some levels too. So, and sometimes a little bit higher, depending on where you're going. So, particularly if you start to move out into a lot of the star journeys, you're moving into the higher dimensions. But we're experiencing all those dimensions up until the ninth dimension within this one reality of all that is. And it's just holding that frequency. It's holding that dimensional frequency. And at each of those dimensions, then, they're the timelines that we have experienced as our multidimensional selves. So our multidimensional selves then exist on each one of these dimensions from the 4th to the 9th dimension respectively. And as we move into those timelines, we start to access those memories of, kind of what we have been and what we are. It's not even what we have been. It's what we are, because all these dimensions are experienced simultaneously. And as we move beyond the veils of illusion, we start to access it. So, when you're talking about your awakening, the journey that you described to me is going straight to source, to the cosmic heart of all creation. That merger with your beloved I am presence, and then choosing to downstep your vibration, choosing to be here as a volunteer soul in service to Mother Earth and all her life. And I think that's another thing that many light workers kind of forget, that they've actually chosen to be here of service. And things sometimes get very hard, because for us to truly understand humanity, for us to truly understand what it is to be human, we've had to choose the pathway of karma, and we've had to choose victim and persecutor consciousness. And unless you, an enlightened master and avatar who comes here fully Christ realized, every single one of us has had to move through the pathway of karma into the Christed timelines. That gives us the compassion, the understanding, and the ability to create, if you think of it as gateways or portals of light for others to follow through our own journeys. And those journeys haven't been easy. And so sometimes in that forgetfulness, we forget our magnificence and we get lost. And we get lost in our addictions, or we get lost in our pain body, or we get lost in the victim and persecutor consciousness, or we get lost in blaming others and not being able to find forgiveness within ourselves, or we experience abuse or the abuser. All those archetypes and all those events are very real to our emotional body. At the same time, what is also very real is that connection that we have to source, is that connection that we have to the beings of light from on high. So it's finding not only the will to move forward, but actually coming into a deeper level of remembrance, of trusting and surrendering to the divine.
Yeah.
Because the legions of light walk with us. They walk in front of us, next to us, behind us, ever guiding us ever upwards into the light. And in that dark moment of the soul, it's to recognize actually that, we just love, and we're surrounded by so much love. And we can find that love within ourselves, then that's when we're able to really start to give it out to other people. And to create, then it's a collective, isn't it? It's very much the collective focus of one reality of creating heaven on earth. And we're coming together in that collective stream of Christ consciousness, of holding that energy matrix of unity consciousness together, of divine love together. And that is also affecting and creating change on this incredible planet on which we physically exist.
In being able to shift timelines, I've kind of had an experience one time where I was driving down the road. As I'm driving down the road, I see this car go like this, and I just heard a voice that said, "Look forward, just stay looking forward." And so I did. And I looked in the rearview mirror, and there was my car back there, and there was a wreck. And I kept driving, and the voice said, "Look forward." And so I looked forward, and I never looked back. But I was actually back there in that accident and moving forward at the same time. So there was a jump in dimension. I've experienced these dimensional jumps, where you're really much freer than you even can think. Nothing holds you in any one, that spirit that you are really creates everything around you. So as an example of that, and then I started to understand that and realize that if people just let go of the timeline that's spinning here, creating itself out here, if they let go of that, then they're quite free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're free to experience these other dimensions and these other realities that are here.
Well, I think a large part then comes back to beliefs. kind of either the belief that, it's so much that, the belief in either that, that you are a limited being, or belief that you're unlimited being. Mm-hmm. The belief, for example, that pain and suffering and the karmic pathways, are the way to the pathway of transcendence. And they have been. And they've been an important part, but now we no longer need to experience pain and suffering to experience ourselves as these sacred transfiguring flames of divine love. And I saw that within my own personal journey too. Without realizing it, I think there was a part of me that had come into, I'd almost call it martyrdom, of recognizing and seeing. And I think that's been the experience of most of humanity. In fact, I'd say all of humanity for eons of time. Through our pain, through our suffering, through our heartache, we have learned best. That is when we've created the greatest change individually and collectively. And now the difference is, in this golden age of light, is that we no longer need to experience those karmic timelines to know ourselves as divine love, to know ourselves as these sacred transfiguring flames of divine love. Mm-hmm. And, so what you're talking about is almost like alchemy, is the ability as a, manifesting co-creator to the company of heaven to magnetize and bring into your reality all that you are needing at any given now moment. And that is the combined consciousness of every thought, every action, every feeling, every emotion that brings that magnetization and attraction into what you are needing in any given now moment. So every single experience that you have, you've chosen it at some level. Mm-hmm. And it could be in the idea of creating love, or it could be in love. Mm-hmm. So it's either choosing that lack of love for the experience of what it brings for you to know what love truly is, or moving now through the Christed timelines in the flow and graciousness of knowing that you are really love. And you can simply experience that in every single reality that you're choosing to co-create. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then it becomes also less important what people around you do. You're responsible not for anyone else, but for yourself. So, where there's no longer any buttons to push, that's truly when we find ourselves in a new alignment. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that, we're going to experience that a lot more with one another, that we just really are at this place where we're collectively feeling it, and we're holding that energy, and we're creating our realities, and we're doing it through, kind of releasing so much of the pain and the suffering and the karmic timelines. Yeah. To just be here in this now. And this now then, although for me it's been important to understand a lot of my karmic journeys, to move through the pre-birth agreements, to experience the past lives, to understand why I've chosen what I've chosen in this lifetime. But in the same time, being in that moment of the now, it doesn't really matter. What those timelines were and what those timelines are. The timelines before us are simply divine love. Mm-hmm. So it's quite a trip,
When you see it from that, when you
Yeah.
see it from that level,
Yeah.
if you can go to that level of it's all divine love, and then take another look at it, yes, I understand that similar things, in the sense that it takes a lot less time.
But it's important to experience your full range of emotions within that too. What I found is, kind of through in my own life experiences, that, the healing of our soul wounds comes not in the denial of the feelings, but in the full embrace of every single feeling, but doing it as these sacred transfiguring flames of divine love. So allow the anger, and then take yourself as love into the anger, because that's how you dissipate it and you give it a voice. Mm-hmm. And, you kind of see what it is that needs to express itself in anger, or what there may still be that there's an aspect of blame somewhere, or an aspect of victim and persecutor consciousness, or the shame or the pain. Give it a voice, but love it. What happens is that we tend to suppress those emotions. We tend to think it's bad to get angry, or it's bad to kind of get upset about something, or to express something that, I shouldn't say maybe, But at the same time, it's recognizing that you're not acting and reacting. You're having the conscious awareness of saying, okay, right now I'm experiencing anger, or right now I'm experiencing pain, or right now I'm experiencing shame, or right now I'm experiencing guilt. You know, rather than reacting, let me have a look at where that pattern's coming from. You know, let me just be with it. Let me be with it. And the more you take the love into it, you know, the more you start to feel the love within. So it's moving through each of those layers, but bringing the love into it. And that takes us out of the,
That's loving yourself.
Of course it is, you know, because you're moving through all those layers into love, into self-love.
And recognizing that the union of what they call the twin flame, the union is being able to take a look at your light side and your dark side and love it. Because without the dark, you wouldn't you would just float in the light. You wouldn't gain any experience if you didn't have both inside of you and coming together.
Well, that's why we chose it, didn't we? You know, I mean, we could just be in that harmonic frequency of divine love, and we wouldn't know any difference. You know, we wouldn't know what it would be like to not be love.
That's right.
So, but at the same time, I have to say, I think we're pretty courageous and pretty brave because, you know, it hasn't been an easy journey, you know, and I say that as a collective kind of, you know, focus. It's been pretty challenging to get ourselves to where we are right now. And, it's been quite an incredible journey once you get there. You know, it's really just holding that light. And every time that you have a pit stop, you know, is recognizing now you're at this crossroads of choosing which timeline, which dimension, which reality that you want to travel along. And because you're given free will, again, it's your choice. You know, you're either going to attract and bring into your reality those that you're still going to play out the victim and persecutor consciousness with, or you're going to recognize that your beloved I am presence is center stage and follow the guidance and direction of your beloved I am presence and the legions of light from on high. And that is not to say the lessons will stop, but they will get a lot easier, you know, when you recognize that you fully support it on every level of your beingness and everything is divinely perfect within the seemingly imperfection.
Right. Yes, there's definitely a resonance that's different. You can feel it.
Yeah. And I'm feeling this month of August in particular, I think because we had the 8-8 Lions Gateway, and we've just had this window of opportunity between a lot of these planetary events that have been occurring, and, you know, a large focus of many light workers coming together. It's been intense, but it's been incredible in terms of a deeper level of cosmic consciousness being experienced, you know, a deeper level of awareness and understanding being experienced by many, many light workers.
Yes.
So I think it's quite an incredible time that we're living in, you know, it really is. It's exciting and oscillating.
That's why we came here this time, eh?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because of this tremendous transformation that's taking place, or the opportunity for that transformation to take place. I know there's still some people that don't even see it and don't even experience it, you know, but there's more and more people, like you said, waking up to what's going on. You're going to India, eh?
Yeah, I've been invited actually as a conference speaker it's called the Congress of Spiritual Scientists, and it's in Bangalore, and it's late September and the beginning of October. It's a 4-day event, and it's called the Pyramid, I think it's a Pyramid Conference, and the actual pyramid-shaped conference center has been built after the specifications of the Great Pyramid in Egypt. So I'm quite excited about that. I think it will be quite lovely. There's a few other international speakers. I think Judy Satori is one of them. I can't really remember who else. But it will be in the format of workshops, and I'm looking really forward to going and
good.
experiencing India. Yeah. Thank you.
And also, people can contact you anytime through your website, And I'll have the website up on the show, so people can see it, and hot linked below too, the video when the video comes up. Okay. And is there
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Dwaine.
They can come and say hello and book a session, or.
Yeah, well, I offer personal sessions with the elders. So it's an hour sort of energy reading, and I start with a lot of probably 10 or 15-minute focus of, I call it implant and entity clearing. Mm-hmm. So I think that's quite important, that protection work as well. And I think really for all light workers, working from that element of, kind of bringing in protection and very lovely things you can do yourself, bringing in the white light of the Christed One, the violet flame of Saint Germain, calling in Archangel Michael, bringing in his blue flame of protection, the shields of light, the sword of holy truth, grounding into the energy of Mother Earth, connecting to your higher light, maybe bringing in a vortex of light above your energy field by the beings of light you personally acknowledge. So it's really just, that's really a great one for protection to be doing on a daily basis. And, when you're going to bed at night, you can visualize a white sheet moving up through your property. And the same thing, then tie the four corners in a bundle and set move into a vortex of light. Bring in the archangels of the four directions, Archangel Michael, Uriel, Gabriel, Raphael, the violet flame of Saint Germain once more, and the white light of the Christed One. And then you can ground your house as a vortex. You can bring in sacred geometry, you can bring in a pyramid of light, you can bring in a pillar of light around your house or your office, not just necessarily around your house. You can create roses of any color of your choosing outside of your energy field when you go to bed once more, and just place the images of people you've been with throughout that day and into those rose images, and see it dissolve again into a vortex of light. And that's not to say that those energies are negative, but you just want to keep your own energy field clear. Mm-hmm. So this type of thing is quite useful. Wake up in the morning, run a beautiful, kind of golden rain through your body and energy field, ground into the energy of Mother Earth. Do that a couple of times throughout the day. Bring in that protection vortex. So that's a very useful one, kind of for a lot of people to do, I feel. Mm-hmm. And then, I scan the energy fields. I scan for implants, which are usually holographic devices. They can be found within the body. They can be found around the energy field. And then I work with a core group of light beings, including Archangel Michael and the Pleiadian emissaries of light. And if they're embedded in the living tissue, then Archangel Michael helps with that. And then we also scan for parasites and eggs and clear those timelines and lower astral entities. So I think it's just important work. It's, I kind of consider it part of the clearing work, which we do the same way as like we could spin our chakras and, kind of do a clearing there. It's very important to clear the gunk around us that, kind of settles in, sometimes unintentionally, so, without realizing it. Yes. I think on an obvious level, it's vibration. Sometimes you go to a place and, kind of you come out of there feeling like really, kind of ill or sick or not well, or you've been around a particular person and you feel drained. It's kind of like that vampire energy, sucking your energy.
Yeah.
But, so there's a lot of places that, I know for me, shopping malls, for example, and I'll go to a shopping mall, and when I'm going in, I'm really clearing it,
Here,
bringing more protection.
Here, we have West Edmonton Mall. It's one of was the biggest mall in the world at one time. I walk through there, and I get about, I don't even get halfway through it, and it's like, all of a sudden I'm a zombie, it's like...
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what is going on with this?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, now you know how to clear it.
Yeah.
So great, you can protect yourself and you can start to lift the energies, because it's just an accumulative place of, kind of a lot of different vibrations and energies. And, even for example, you could go to, as an example here in South Africa, you go to an ATM. Maybe up in Johannesburg, there's a little bit more of a fear matrix net than down in Cape Town. And, as I've experienced it personally, I've been drawing money from an ATM, and suddenly I'm looking around me and thinking, is someone going to stick a knife in my back? Are they going to steal my money? Because at that point of where I'm standing, there's a frozen miasm, collective frozen thought forms created by so many people that have stood in that same place of fear consciousness, that you're picking up that vibration. Every single country has a different kind of energetic, etheric vibration and a light body vibration. And it's just then again, to kind of see what you're tuning into. But being aware of these things is very useful because it's, it's just vibration, it's just energy, and
I've often wondered that by some of the things, the conspiracy theory stuff that comes out, if it's not trying to create what you're talking about, that fear plantate. I mean, we just went through it again where this month, in the middle of this month, we were supposed to have had something with the second son, and we were supposed to flip and do all this stuff, and there was this people spreading this all over the place, and what happened? Nothing. Again.
Yeah, I heard of that. Actually, someone emailed me to ask, kind of, is it the end of the world? I don't know. It's very strange. But, exactly what you're saying, Dwaine, is correct. It's where your focus is, there you are.
Yeah.
And of course there are, I would say, kind of dark beings around. If you want to label, I kind of stay away from the labels of light and dark anyway, because I think we all source light, just experiencing different aspects of creation through free will. And even in the darkest being, there's source light. So it's really just then a focus of where you want to bring your attention. And, I kind of personally would like to bring it to the creation of divine love, of the light grid anchoring. I know that, kind of these beings of light exist, and I've personally experienced it. In my early 20s, actually, I was, what's the best way to describe it? I was actually sexually attacked by a lower astral entity for 3 years. And, that was probably also a huge catalyst for the change and journey that I went on. I had to very quickly, wake up and protect myself and find out what was going on. I would lie there and the bed would shake and the duvet would be pulled off the bed, and I get these buzzing noises through my head, and I couldn't move. And I had implants, put in where everything was dark. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. And I was very fortunate at that time to meet a Pleiadian light worker who was also a catalyst for, kind of assisting me and a deeper level of my own transformation.
Yes.
But these things are very real. That's kind of on that level. And I've experienced, what I consider to be demons. I've experienced that too. And, I have the skills and the tools, to know exactly what to say and how to protect myself. And I think it's just such a natural part of being a light worker that every light worker should have those tools and techniques and understandings, because then there's nothing to fear. There's absolutely nothing to fear. And I think a lot of light workers don't realize that they don't protect themselves enough. And so they do experience attacks by lower astral entities, or what they want to call, again, labeled dark forces, kind of those that don't have our best interest at heart. And it's simply to just recognize that you light, and there is nothing that can stand in the way of light. So it's to hold that power, is to know that it's the moment you move into fear on any level, kind of, and fear then is contagious, isn't it?
It is.
You're in a place where, someone is fearful and next moment you're fearful. It's like that's when you really need to hold your light and hold your energy and bring in that protection and bring in the legions of light and know yourself for what you are. A powerful, incredible, sacred, transfiguring flame of divine love, here of service to Mother Earth and all her light, and working with the legions of light from on high.
Well, thank you very much for coming on to the show.
Thanks, Dwaine. It's been lovely to connect with you, and I really also enjoy your YouTube videos, not only your wonderful shows, but also your beautiful music and images.
Oh, thank you.
You're very gifted. Yeah, thank you.
I like yours as well. I do.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yes, and it was very, very much a privilege to have this time. I know you're very busy, to talk to you, and thank you for taking the time.
It's been my absolute pleasure, and so lovely to connect with you, and certainly to connect with all the viewers too. So from my heart and to yours, and the cosmic heart of all creation, blessings in love. Namaste.
Namaste. Blessings and love. Okay, bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye. Thank you.